Hey there, all you junior trainers, lasses, and youngsters. It's time for another Beyond Bulbasaur. I'm your host, Kendall, doing another little bite-sized episode. This week we're talking about Koffing. I picked this guy because I already had an MS Paint image of it, but I've been stumped as to what to say. I don't think I've ever used Koffing or wheezing in a game, at least not in a satisfactory way. Poison type isn't that great in Gen 1, and Koffing isn't available until Pokemon Mansion on Cinnabar, by which time my team is usually set plus or minus a few legendaries, if I'm using legendaries in that run. And even if it's not, Koffing feels like a Pokemon who would have been way better if he were available earlier in the game. Maybe around I don't know, Cerulean City or something. If you could catch him around the time that you start catching Oddishes and whatnot. But Koffing is a Pokemon favored by villains, most notably Team Rocket. You see plenty of Rockets in the game have him on their team, and most iconically, James uses Koffing in the anime. I love how Team Rocket establishes in their first appearance that Jesse and James don't play by the rules, and they send out both Ekans and Koffing at the same time. There's something interesting about the idea that even in situations where criminals are trying to rob Pokemon trainers, they have a set of rules where you have one Pokemon out at a time. People have a code or something. It's like the Old West. The fact that James got Koffing as a Christmas present also explains how someone like him would manage to snag a Pokemon at all. Okay, this is interesting. I read through the various Pokedex entries, and I always sort of wondered why Koffing float the way they do. It turns out they're mostly made up of poisonous, lighter-than-air gas. They're basically balloons that are ready to explode at a moment's notice. This, of course, explains why they can learn Explosion or Self-Destruct. Bulbapedia speculates about the design trying to look like a mine or a meteor, or maybe the result of pollution, although I don't totally agree. I feel like the design is more practical. Designers wanted something that was mostly gas with a thin outside layer holding it together and places to shoot out the poison or whatever, and so that's what they ended up with. Just mechanically speaking, that's what this looks like. I just don't have that much to say about Koffing. More regurgitating Bulbapedia. The original Japanese name was Nye, referencing New York's pollution. Apparently they eat fumes from garbage and other pollution and things. Their poison gas is flammable. I think I might have said that already. But there just isn't that much to say. Koffing is a pretty unremarkable Pokemon, but he's still, still visually iconic. Do you want to just talk briefly about the poison type? Koffing is a poison type, which is interesting because I can never remember what it's strong against or weak against, and the fact that it's often a secondary type makes things even worse. If you look at a chart, it's only strong against fairy and grass. And since so many Pokemon are also grass type that are poison type, this doesn't really help. It's offensively weak against poison, ground, rock, and ghost. And then steel is immune. The weaknesses just don't make sense. Why should a psychic attack be extra strong against poison gas? Is it because poison types are already depressed and psychic attacks further hurt your morale? I don't know. And I can't even, what does ground type have to do with stopping poison? I don't know. Steel makes sense because robots can't be poisoned, but yeah, it just feels like poison got screwed over as a type. I mean, especially prior to fairy type being a thing, then it was, it was strong against only grass. And again, the grass type being strong against grass type doesn't do anything because half the time, Bulbasaur and all that are also poison type. I think that'll do it. Thanks a lot for listening. And we'll see you next time on Beyond Bulbasaur. Keep catching them all or something.